So there is a lot of conversation that has been taking place lately in regards to the manosphere, and many things that have been coming out about the manosphere and who's behind it, who's involved, and what type of people are content creators within the manosphere. There's a lot of shrouded questions and different things happening, and yeah, and now we've got somebody who's dead. Okay. So let's talk about this a little bit. I'm not going to get totally terribly into this, but I do want to get into this a bit today. Okay. Also, I did want to talk about what happened in two shootings recently. One was in Tulsa, where a black man opened fire on four individuals at a medical center, and also in Kansas City, where Kansas City opened fire on a pregnant black woman. Okay. Let's talk about it, guys. Let's get into the morning show.
It's Block Lounge Entertainment, and the time is right with T-Pre.
And grand rising to all of you. I hope everybody is doing as awesome as me today. Shout out to everybody who is in the clouds, everybody who will catch the replay. I always appreciate you guys, as you know. Um, I wanted to talk a little bit about the manosphere, but before I get into that, I'm going to talk about what happened in Tulsa. So, allegedly, there was a black man around between 35 and 40. They're not sure how old he is yet, but they're pretty close to an identification. As a matter of fact, I'm going to look, excuse me, and see if they actually have an identification on him as of yet. But there was a man who was in Tulsa who opened fire at a medical facility on four people. Okay. And yeah, this is another example of just guns being available to people who have significant mental conditions or significant issues going on, and how easily it is to get a hold of guns in the US. So, there's a lot of conversation about this, a lot of conversation around, who should have access to guns, if there should be control and regulation in regards to who has access to these guns and so forth. Which I get the conversation about that. But the problem is, like I said, there are many, many loopholes in the US to obtain firearms. Okay. A lot of them, whether people want to admit to it or not, whether people know it or not. There's different loopholes within different states. And some states it's easier to get to other states and go get things. So we have a serious, serious problem here in the US in regards to this. And people tend to forget, okay, that that this is a little bit deeper than just oh, we have mental illness issues and stuff like that. Like I said, guns are so readily available to everyone. And people tend to believe that, based off of the way that we've been raised, based off of the conversations that we've had all of our lives in regards to shooting, in regards to killing someone, this is literally the environment that we're in America. And I just wonder when we're going to finally do something about that. I don't know much about that situation yet, but I do know that it was a black man. And I do know that, okay, I got it right here. And I do know that he killed four other people. So you said that, well, I'm going to read this real quick because I do have a little bit of information on what happened. So they're saying police described a catastrophic scene inside a medical office building in South Tulsa where five people died and multiple more were injured during a mass shooting on Wednesday afternoon. The shooter, who took his own life as well, was armed with a rifle and a handgun as he entered St. Francis Health System's Natalie building at 6475 South Yale Avenue and began shooting both guns just before 5 p.m. So police said that the shooting occurred in an orthopedic clinic on the Natalie building's second floor. St. Francis Hospital's online directory says Warren Clinic's orthopedic surgery and sports medicine and orthopedic urgent care is located on the second floor, with 9 physicians listed. St. Francis Health System released a statement Wednesday night saying it is grieving the loss of 4 members of our family, but it did not release the names or positions of those killed or injured. The orthopedic office will be closed until further notice. So they don't have a lot of information on this, okay? But they do know that, there's 5 people confirmed dead, including the shooter who took his own life and then took the lives of 4 other people. And then now they're saying that there were multiple people that were injured. They were also saying yesterday that some of those people were actually civilians and not people that worked in the office. So I'm not 100% sure about that because now the office is saying something different. But ultimately speaking, these mass shootings, like I said the other day, I said it the other day, and I'm going to continue to say it. These mass shootings will continue to happen. They are going to continue and they're going to get worse until we, the people, do something about the environment that we're in the US. Okay. When we change the environment, the hateful, explosive, violent environment that we are in is when we will stop or see a significant and drastic decrease in mass shootings. And but until then, and until as long as we're having these conversations, we're teaching our kids about cowboys and Indians, and everybody's shooting each other, and we get kids. The first thing we buy them is a toy gun and all this. And it's not that it's a problem with guns, because I and my family are Advent gun supporters, Advent gun owners. My mother, all of us, okay, are we love guns. It's just what we do. Okay, we get it from our mom. Okay, so I mean, this is something we do. So it's not that, but it's the environment, and it's the environment that we're teaching our children in, and everything together. I mean, it's not just that. It's everything all together, along with this hateful white supremacist environment that we are in. And that's just that. And the rat race that we're in, the economy, everything together is so stressful on the American people. And when the American people change it, when the American people really start invoking those Second Amendment rights, when the American people really start doing things to clean up our own communities, is when we will see a drastic change in this kind of stuff. Now let's talk about I'm going to talk real quick before I get into this Manosphere stuff. Let me take this off the screen because you guys probably think I'm talking about that. But let's talk about this situation that happened in Tulsa. Okay, I mean not in Tulsa, in Kansas City. So allegedly, the police there decided that they were going to shoot an unarmed, pregnant black woman. Okay, now shout out to TMK. There's a couple other people in the sector that are talking about it as well. I know Max V made a video about it, but I didn't get to see that. I just saw that you made one this morning. But TMK definitely made a video about this. If you guys missed it, please go check that out on TMK Media. But it was really a great show that he put on in regards to that. But I just have to say that this is another example of why do we need the cops? Okay, because in like even with the situation that happened in Tulsa, okay, the cops did not intervene in that situation. All right, the guy ended up doing what he did, and it was over. In this situation, which happens most times, where there's a bunch of carnage, and it takes a period of time for the cops to actually show up to the building. Okay, so you got to once they get there, then they got to strategize and go through all this stuff. Meanwhile, people are being killed left and right. So do the cops really, are they really necessary in a scenario like that? You understand what I'm saying? Or should there be trained marksmen just already around? Should there be people who, since, that go to the gun range and do different things that are just already around? Like, for instance, what happened at the graduation where the guy came through with the AK and tried to, well, I mean, with the AR and tried to shoot everybody. And the woman just picked up her pistol and shot him one time. You see what I'm saying? Like she took him out. So should it be stuff like that that's more in place as opposed to waiting for the cops to get there? You know what I mean? Calling 911, taking the opportunity. You got to take the precious time it takes to pick up the phone, to dial 911, for somebody to answer at 911. Once they answer, then they got to dispatch. Are they dispatching proper information? Are they, because the ones on the scene, the ones who are there, they are the ones who can, who can assess a scene much faster than it would to call a cop and have a cop come in and do like what they did in Uvalde. They sat there, they talked, they drank water. You got these niggas on camera with bottles of water, like while kids is in there being killed. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's, do we need the police? Okay. So the situation with Kansas City, all right, and how they shot the pregnant woman. They were claiming that this was, or appeared to be, a stolen vehicle. Okay. It fit the description, quote unquote, as we've all heard that bullshit before. But it fit the description, allegedly, of a stolen vehicle. And once they stopped the vehicle, the dude that was in the car bolted, okay, and jumped over the fence. I guess he had some warrants or whatever. So he jumps over the fence, and then they let her out the car, but she was compliant. Okay. She had her hands up. She let them know about the firearm, which, by the way, y'all, before anybody says something about that, it is legal to drive around with a firearm in your vehicle. You can do that. Okay. That's not a thing. That's, that's a crime. Okay. So she let them know about the vehicle, about the gun, which is what you got to do. You just got to let them know that you have it. I have a concealed weapon. It's right here. And you just tell them about it. I've done that before, so I know that that this can be done. So but she did that, and then she got out the car, and she let them know what was up. She let them know. She told them she was pregnant because they kept telling her get on the ground. And she was like, I can't get on the ground, officer. My stomach, she was visibly pregnant. Okay, visibly pregnant. And then she and then they kept, kept yelling and screaming, forcing. It didn't matter whether she was pregnant. Like, how is she a threat to y'all? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, this woman had her hands up. She told you about the gun in the car, and she was trying to tell y'all she can't get down on the ground, and you guys are screaming and yelling with your guns drawn and facing her belly. I can't imagine what I would have been thinking. Pregnant with my child, with all these pig police in my face, and you got these guns in my face. And all I'm thinking is I'm about to lose my life, which will lose the life of my child, behind something I didn't do, or behind something that y'all just think is happening. In my mind, I know I didn't steal anything. So I don't know why you're stopping me to begin with. I might know why he ran. He might have some warrants. I might know that. But what does that got to do with me? You understand what I'm saying? And even if it did, like, does it require me being shot? I got my hands up. I'm letting you know I am not a threat. I'm not trying to do anything, officers. I just want to live. There's a gun in the car because it is legal for me to carry, but it's one in the car. So y'all know. But please don't shoot me. I can't get on the ground because my stomach is too big. I'm going to hurt my child. And that wasn't enough. And so, in fear, seeing these barrels in her face, she turned around, probably to protect her kid. I mean, that's what I would do. I would do my best to take my baby out of harm's way. And that's what she did. And they opened fire and shot her 5 freaking times. 5 times for a pregnant, unarmed woman. And guess who it was who walked up on her once um to try to arrest her and put her in handcuffs after she was laying on the ground bleeding from being shot by them. It was a woman. It was a female cop. So you know that how difficult it is to lay on your stomach as a pregnant woman. Like how difficult that is, very difficult to do, even on a soft surface, even on a bed. You understand what I'm saying? That's very difficult to do. How the fuck was she supposed to lay on her stomach, lay down, face down with this belly? And it just didn't matter. It just didn't matter. And as a woman, mm-mm. So that is a prime example, okay, of how incompetent the police are. Another prime example of how incompetent the police are. See, cops get stories about stolen vehicles and reports about this every single day. You understand what I'm saying? Every day. But stolen vehicles are not a priority. I think we all know that. That is not a priority crime. Okay? If your vehicle is stolen, the chances of the police trying to recover your vehicle are much less than you finding it yourself. And that's facts. Matter of fact, there's a video out here of a woman who did exactly that. There was a man who stole her car and he was riding around, joy riding. Shout out to Photon. I think Photon did a video on that. He was riding around, joy riding, going different places, doing this, doing that. She had reported the vehicle stolen. It was a Benz or something like that, too. It was like a Benz or a BMW. It was something like that. And she reported it stolen. He was at the barber shop when she found him. And she ran up in there and pulled him by his dreads outside to that car. But the point that I'm trying to make is people put in stolen vehicle reports all the time. And that's not a priority crime. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I could see if it was like, oh, we suspect that this is a terrorist, okay? Or we suspect that this person was a recent active shooter or something like that. Like, I could see if it was a real crime, y'all, but this was a petty crime. Like, according to the police, according to the law, quote unquote, stealing a vehicle in the US is not on the top priority list of things that police really fight every day. Do you understand what I'm saying? It just kind of goes in the background. It does. Let's just be real. So I'm not really sure how this thing became such a priority that all these cops had to show up on the scene with guns drawn over a stolen vehicle, quote unquote, allegedly. It required the entire community to be at risk over these cops opening fire, which, keep in mind, they could have hit anybody doing that shit. They could have hit anything because there was a woman who that had filmed the whole thing. These people were next to her car. So one of her or her kids, and she wasn't even from there. She was from Louisiana. Her kids could have got hit. Like, it's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. And thank goodness she recorded it. Thank goodness she put it on camera. Because if she hadn't, they would have had a totally different story. They would have acted like this didn't happen. The woman wasn't complying. The woman was this. The woman was that. The woman's dad wasn't in the house. The woman's mother was on drugs. They would have found all kinds of reasons to make what they did to this pregnant black woman, unarmed black woman, okay. Because she wasn't armed. The gun was in the vehicle. And she has the right. to carry in her vehicle? Like, why did people automatically assume that the gun was criminal, that the gun was wrong? Black people have the right to bear arms, and black people drive around in their vehicles with their arms. That is a thing, whether people know it or not. That is actually a thing. Black people open carry. Black people have guns on their hip walking up the street. You understand? Or going into Walmart and everything else. Everywhere across the US. Leaving a gun in your vehicle is not out of the ordinary. It is definitely a thing. Riding around with a gun under your seat is not out of the ordinary. So I'm confused why that would be a problem. Because that's some of the stuff I was hearing some people pushing back on. Oh, why did she have a gun? Why did they have a gun in the car? They shouldn't have had a gun in the car. Why not? What country you live in? Because in the US, you can do that. Now, maybe certain states have certain laws in place. They have certain things in place to suppress your right to carry. But absolutely, it is legal to carry. And in most places I've been, it is absolutely customary to have something in your car. Customary, especially in them areas down there and them way. So I'm confused about why that was a threat. Some people were saying that they perceived her turning around and going, leave, like walking towards them and then walking away. They perceive that as a threat. No, not with her hands up, not with nothing there. That she wasn't a threat. So, like I said, a prime example again of, do we actually need American law enforcement as we know it? Are they significantly capable of really protecting and serving the American people? Are they really? Or is it just like a almost like a fraternity? You know what I'm saying? Like just a group of people who get together, a camaraderie who gets together and hangs out and gets paid for it, gets all types of grants and all types of money, all types of equipment to not even use it properly, to not even show up on time. And when they show up like that. Instead of when it's time for real policing, like it was in Uvalde, do they show up and they sit in the hallway and listen to the children get killed for 45 minutes before finally one of the feds run up in there and take the keys from the janitor and just walk in the room? Like they couldn't just do that because they weren't quote unquote trained, or were they? But even if they weren't or were or anything, it is reasonable to believe that when somebody takes a job in the US, it is reasonable to believe that they are to carry out their job. Bottom line, when you take a job, it is reasonable to believe that you are expected to carry out the duties of that job. Whether in a real life situation this would happen or that would happen or not, you are still expected to do that. It's reasonable to think those things. But if we are going to get excuse after excuse after excuse from law enforcement every single time a situation like this occurs, are we going to keep allowing law enforcement to do what they do? Are we going to keep dealing with the same situations? Keep going through the same things? So, part of this problem in cleaning up America is going to be reforming the police and whether or not we are even using these police academies, whether they're significant, whether they're really necessary, or whether they're just taking up space, putting the community more at risk, taking up money that could be allocated to other locations and other places within our communities that would improve the community and improve the quality of life of the people in the community, which would ultimately eliminate the need for as much policing or any policing at all from at least from these academies of people who don't even live in those communities. Because I guarantee none of those cops that shot that woman live there. I guarantee it. I'm willing to put money on it. None of them live in that community. So they don't know her, they don't know her family, they don't know her mother, they don't know her grandmother, they don't know her great grandfather. You understand what I'm saying? They don't know those people and they don't have any connection to the people in that community. So of course they come in there like the military. That's not protecting and serving. If you want to protect and serve as a cop, you should be protecting and serving your own community, right? Who's policing your neighborhood while you over here in this black neighborhood policing them? Who's protecting and serving in your neighborhood where your kids go to school, where your wife goes to work, while you leave that community to come and police a neighborhood that you don't know a soul in and don't care about? So, again, reform is what we need with these cops. We need to start questioning if we actually need them. What's happening, y'all? I appreciate y'all being in the building. We're about to get into this situation with Al and with the Manosphere and stuff, but I just wanted to say hi to you guys. I appreciate you, HM, coming in the building, keeping it plain. Thank you for coming in. You said, I carry mines every day, all day. Second Amendment rights. All right. You said, always film the cops. Exactly. Always film them, guys. Like, I mean, even if it's maybe inconvenient to you, you know what I'm saying? Or if you got to stop and and just stop for a second, you know what I mean, and just start recording. It's sad that we got to do that, but this is unfortunate. Unfortunately, the environment that the police have created in this country. Okay, we can't trust them. We don't know how they're going to react. We don't know what they're going to do. We don't know how far they're going to take things. You know what I'm saying? And why they would try to use deadly force. We don't know why. All we want to do is get home. We're not them. You know what I'm saying? We are civilians. We want to go home and we don't want to be killed. We don't want our kids killed. You know, it's sad. You said yes, we need law enforcers, but better trained law enforcers. I agree. I agree. Better trained, or just they're really ready and willing to be on that task. You said they are agitators and have a us versus them mentality. I have had very few positive interactions with law enforcement. I'm glad you brought that up because there's actually a cop in Wilmington that I hold him very dear to my heart. And he's a white guy too. And he really is one of those cops that doesn't live in the area, but he actually does care about the community. I have to say that. There's he's retired now. But there are some that not, that's why I don't want to say it about all cops because all cops aren't like this, but there are some who really are good people. But what I will say about him too is he is aware also of the corruption. You see what I'm saying? He's aware of the ones who are not, and he felt helpless in those situations. He really did. Um, he talked about that very openly with us, and but he did know about the corruption, and he was aware of it, and he felt bad about it, and he felt like there wasn't anything he could do. And I agree. I think there's a bigger animal than just one person. You know what I mean? One person can go up against it, but can they really do much about it in law enforcement? But that just goes to show that the people got to take this back. And he even said that this is coming from a cop, former cop. The people have got to police their own communities. That came from a cop. That came from a previous cop. So, and I agree. He said, what happened in Uvalde was cowardly and another example of why we don't rock with them. Exactly. And why we may not actually need them. I definitely believe that we can protect and serve our own communities. And the whole 911 system, it's a joke. Like Flavor Flav said that shit. 911 is a damn joke, man. Like that whole system is a waste of time. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of energy. When it may make sense when it comes to ambulances and stuff like that, but sometimes people think you can get somebody to the hospital or get somebody medical care quicker than you can with an ambulance, even. Um, depending on where you are in the country, and also depending on the funding in that city and whether or not these ambulance companies, are privately owned, if they're owned by the hospitals, there's different things, so is 911 necessary? Is the police academies, are they necessary? Because like you said, what happened down there is a prime example of why we don't even call them most of the time. I mean, there's no reason to. Shannon B, hey, how you doing? I appreciate you coming in the building. You said, I think police shouldn't police no black communities across America. Um, I think they shouldn't police any communities across America, even if it's black, white, anything, just for the simple fact that they're just not competent. They're literally not competent enough, as we have seen recently, to support and protect and serve our communities, but particularly if they don't live in that community. Particularly if they're not from there, they have no interest in that community, so of course they're not going to care. You said that's a good point. If they had to live on the same street as people they quote unquote police, the interactions would definitely be different. 100% different. Trust and believe. Every interaction from cops, if they had to police, if you want to be a cop, fine. But if you had to police in the neighborhood you actually lived in, where you got to face these people every single day, you got to look at these people in the face every single day. You understand what I'm saying? You have to do, actual communication with these neighbors and talk to these people. I guarantee policing would change. It would totally change in the US because nobody's going to be, like that with folks they know, with folks that they are aware of. You understand what I'm saying? Like honestly, think about it. How many cops actually live in the town that they're policing? How many? That's something to think about, right? Definitely something to think about. So anyway, guys, let's go ahead and get into this Manosphere content. Okay, I'm going to play a quick timer so we could take a quick break, and then I am going to get right into that content. Okay, can you guys hear me? I hope everybody is doing good. Hey, Kenneth Mack, I appreciate you. Sorry, guys, I had to step out of the studio real quick and now I'm back in. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this manosphere stuff. Okay. Now, I did talk the other day about a lot of this, but I didn't talk about some things. And I'm actually going to put a link in the description box for what two links. I'm going to put one to the Paperwork Party Network, and I'm also going to put one to New World Tarot. Okay. Now, New World Tarot, you guys know I'm a tarot reader. I'm going to clear up a couple of things so that you guys understand tarot readers. You also understand people like myself. Okay. I'm not the type of person, and most people that I know who are into tarot reading are not the type of person who just digs into people's business. Okay. Sometimes I will pull cards on like celebrities or pull cards on situations, but I'm not going to just dig up in people's business. Okay. Unless I have a real reason to. The reason why is because I don't like to cloud myself and cloud my spirit with other people's nonsense and what other people are doing. So I would rather not know what you're doing. You understand what I'm saying? I'd rather not, get myself involved in whatever you're doing and whatever's going on in your life. Okay. If that's what you're doing, that's what you're doing. If I uncover it, most of the time it's because it's something you're doing that is directly affecting me or directly affecting somebody in my family. Okay. Or if you ask me to. Okay. Now, other times I will pull cards on something to get clarity on a situation. If somebody tells me something, like for instance, when they were saying that this woman was possibly the person who may have murked Kevin Samuels, I looked into that and I actually questioned the cards on that. And I got specific cards back about shrouding and surrounding what happened to Kevin. But it made it very clear that it was something he specifically did that took his life. Okay. So, in other words, whatever he drank, whatever he ate, or whatever he ingested is what took his life. Okay. And it had something to do with how his demise. Okay. Period. Not sure if that was the day before, the day after, I don't know. All I know is there was alchemy involved and that he took whatever it was and that she did not ingest that into him and she did not physically touch him in order or physically do something to him in order to cause his demise. That's exactly what the card said. Okay. I did not, however, ask the cards if anyone else had anything to do with his demise or if anyone else was involved in his demise. Okay. So that was a question I did not ask. And I don't know if I want to. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, I did watch New World Tarot. She's one of my favorite tarot card readers. It's Nuworld Tarot. Okay, a black woman. She's great. Queen is her name. She's a truck driver and she does do tarot card readings. She's done significant readings on various celebrities as well as others in other situations. And one of the readings she did about a month or so before Kevin Samuels actually passed away was a reading on the manosphere. She was doing some particular questioning on the manosphere. And like I said, I will put a link to that video in my description box. At about 43 minutes into the video, she actually pulled two Ten of Swords cards. And in those Ten of Swords, they came out where I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. Well, you can see it on even on my channel. I've pulled the Ten of Swords on people before. And the Ten of Swords is basically showing a guy laying there dead with swords in his back. Okay. The Ten of Swords usually means, when I pull that, that usually means to me that either somebody is trying to do something to someone or somebody is deceiving you. Okay. That's always what it means. It just what it is. So she pulled two of those cards out. I believe it was two from two different decks, two Ten of Swords, and said directly, they're going to kill that man. And then she moved on. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys that. Okay. I want you guys to see that and put this all together. Okay. Because like I said, there's a lot of intricate places within the manosphere. It's not just the black manosphere and the ones that we see on the surface. We can, in our communities, and in our sections on YouTube, we see, certain red pillars, we see certain blue pillars, and all this stuff. And everybody's now trying to figure out what these pill colors mean, and how they got there. And it does take from the ideology of the Matrix. So if you understand the Matrix, the movie The Matrix, you can kind of grasp what the red pill and the blue pill kind of means. Now, all these other pills, these black pills, purple pills, white pills, and all this pink, I know about the pink pill, but all this other stuff, I'm not really sure what all this stuff and these colors mean. Okay, I could look into it, but I really don't know if I want to look into it, like I said. And the reason why is because we have these agents of chaos within our communities. They come into our chat rooms, they cause issues within people, talk, about people and go back and forth between people, keep stuff up between people and do different things in different sectors and in different spaces. Okay? All of us have witnessed this with Al Lanier, for instance, where he comes over into the Umar sector. He's been doing this for an extended period of time. He finally went over to other sectors. I believe he's in a biracial sector, and then he went over to another sector. And it just seems like he is one of those people that goes from space to space, causing chaos. He's never there to actually build and talk about positive things, but as long as that content creator is talking about, something, that he can disparage or something that he could jump in on or something he could do, negatively, he'll do that. Okay. So I started to pay a little bit more attention to a lot of these content creators over there in the manosphere. Okay. From Dennis Sperling to Fresh and Fit. I went through all of their libraries, okay, like of videos. I didn't go through everything, but I went through and just some of them I checked the titles, okay, and I checked the thumbnails, and I checked out their community tabs, okay, and their conversation within these community tabs, and I realized they all have that one thing in common, and that is that they all disparage Black women. Okay. It's not that, the white manosphere isn't disparaging women. Some of them are, but there definitely is a difference in some of the white manosphere content as opposed to some of this Black manosphere content that's been front and center on YouTube. Now, there are Black manosphere content creators who I actually support and I watch all the time. Okay. So this is not the Black manosphere by itself. All right. And it's not just them. But I can't help but notice and see that these men are purposely disparaging Black women and that this is a business. This is a money making machine. Okay. And allegedly, and according to all of this, it looks like there may possibly be some levels to this shit. Okay. Whereas Kevin Samuels was on a particular level. He was making probably more money than anybody else in that sector. All right. Um, More views, had more going on, had celebrities coming to him and everything. It makes me wonder, and I'm just going to put this out there. It makes me wonder if the Black manosphere and the disparaging of Black women and the money that's made within the Black manosphere is a pool of money that goes up a ladder to people in the white manosphere. Because, see, a lot of times white societies will be the background of Black societies. So black societies will be out in the open and in the forefront, and the police and everybody is they see you. But if you open the doors and you go behind the scenes, it's a black group, it's a white group that's actually running that black organization. Okay? Give you an example of like biker clubs, for instance. Okay? Like a biker club will have black clubs all over the place. The black clubs are like kind of out in the forefront, but it's a white club running that black club. It's not a black owned. It's white people running that shit. So it's the same thing, and at least it appears to be this way with the manosphere, where the white manosphere is kind of like the clean looking side of things. And then you look on the other side and you've got the black manosphere, and they all over there talking trash about black women and doing this and doing that. Because Sam Botta, he got up on the paperwork party the other day and tried to make it appear that the man who started the manosphere was this upstanding, wonderful, great man. And that he started the manosphere because his brother or brother-in-law or somebody had took his life, and he wanted to help men because yeah, he took his life because his wife left him. So he wanted to help men, feel like there is hope. This was the story of Sam Boda about how the white manosphere got started. And then came along the black manosphere. And like I said, the only thing that stands out in the black manosphere is the negativity. Even though I know there are positive content creators in the black manosphere. But the ones that stand out are the negative ones. The ones that stand out the most and that get talked about the most are the negative ones. So is it possible that Kevin Samuels got too big for them? Is it possible that Kevin Samuels started making so much money and became so valuable to the industry outside of them that somebody had to take his ass out? Is it possible? I'm not saying Al was directly involved with that because I don't think he was. But I find it very, very interesting that the agents of chaos that I've got pictured on this picture all are either somehow connected to Kevin directly, the Manosphere directly, Hawaii directly, the feds directly. Like there's a lot of twists and turns within this plot that keeps thickening and thickening and thickening, that it definitely deserves attention. Do I want any parts of it? No, I honestly don't. And I really think it would be best, you know, for any of us not to get involved. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have the right to talk about this because I think we definitely do, especially considering the fact that some of these people come right within our midst. Some of these people be sitting right up in our chat rooms, they listening in. Yeah, I think we can talk about it. I don't think we should be afraid because I'm not afraid. I just don't want any parts because I can see the evil in this. I can see the demonic energy in it. I could feel it. And I just don't want any parts of it. That's all. And I suggest you leave it alone too. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, this is definitely a thing that they have stumbled across. This is a thing. I don't know exactly everybody's, part in this. I really don't. And like I said, I don't want to know. The less I know, the better. I have uncovered things for people that can solve crimes. And so therefore, I mind my motherfucking business. Okay? Like, unless I'm actually needed in a situation, I try to mind my business on stuff. But my gut feeling is telling me, and my gut was telling me before I pulled those cards, because I even made a video about it. I said, yo, it's possible that he may have been murked, but I'm gonna pull cards on it. And I was feeling ill about it. I was feeling like really ill. I think I talked about this with somebody, but I was feeling real ill about it and like something ain't right, but I don't know what it is. And when I pulled the cards, I questioned the cards on whether this woman was the one who took him out. And the answer to that was no. But the rest of the stuff came out around it. And I didn't ask anymore. All I wanted to know was whether this woman did it or not. You understand what I'm saying? And so the answer to that was no. And I left it alone. But I know what my gut was telling me before I pulled them cards. And my gut was telling me that somebody did something to this man. My gut was telling me that. But once the card said that the woman didn't, mind you, like I said, I only asked about the woman. So once the card said that, I left it alone. But man, trust your first instinct. Trust your first instinct. Because my first instinct was telling me that this was foul play. When I first heard about it, I thought it was foul play because he was too young. Not that people can't die at 56 or 53, whatever he was, but it just did not look right. It didn't look right. It didn't make sense. Yeah, death doesn't make sense a lot of times, but this particular situation was sticky as fuck. And I felt sick about it. Like I didn't even want to pull the cards because I didn't know what I was going to uncover. I just knew that it was something. And the cards let me know it was alchemy and different things. I'll put I'll put a link to that video in my description box too. So you guys can look at that. And you guys can study those cards yourself because I have the cards sitting there on the camera, on the screen. So you can see which cards came out. Working with people in on YouTube, working with people that you're not familiar with is pretty scary. Um, because you don't know what you're getting involved with. You got to vet people. You understand what I'm saying? I'm definitely doing that, and so is breaking the culture with me. We are vetting each other. There is no, we just blindly trust stuff because you really don't know what you're involved with. There's a lot of things that Al Lanier was particularly here for, significance, significantly here for. People think that because you have a common enemy with someone, that you're supposed to just automatically hook up with those people and just to come after one or the other, not paying attention to people's actual agendas and why they're actually here. Some people will tell you why they're here. And in you being so blinded by wanting to be in some type of cahoots with them in order to go after some insignificant person on YouTube could actually be putting your life in danger or the lives of your family in danger. And it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth the energy and the time. If it ain't about business, and if it isn't about really getting to know people and really getting to understand the positions that people are taking, then you need to fall back from this because this is not what you want when it comes to getting involved in people's lives, when it comes to trying to hook up and connect with people because they don't like somebody you don't like. Because, like I said, your agenda might not be the same. And most of the time, you would have no way of knowing that until it's too late. So I'm not saying that you can't work with people. I think you can. I've worked with some great people here, excellent people. But I think you should be very, 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 very careful with who you're trusting. Somebody might appear one way to you and be somebody else when you're not around. Act like an entire victim in front of you and be somebody completely different when you're not watching, when you're not looking, or at least when they think you're not. So be very, very careful. Because, like I said, some people really have other agendas, and it's more than just, you know, oh, they're crazy and they're deranged. Some of them are actual agents. Hello, three-letter agents looking for something to put you in, looking for something to mix you up in, looking for something to get you caught up in, looking to create RICO charges and stuff on people, looking for it, and then trying to get you into it. I remember one time they was trying to say the good guys was a was was a gang, and that they had everybody on these photos and they were trying to say it's possible RICO. I heard all different types of people saying stuff in the chats, people coming out and saying stuff. Just it was ridiculous. The stuff, the narratives that people purposely try to create and purposely try to get you involved in. They trying to get you swatted, calling the cops, calling this, calling that, trying to get you shot up in your own house, trying to get all kinds of agents of chaos in various ways. And anybody else out here in these streets. But there's some of y'all that ain't heard from me. You got my number and everything. Well, my Google number and everything. But you ain't heard from me on purpose. For those of you who I usually talk to by email, I'm not talking about you. And I'm not talking about any women at all. But there's some of y'all who got my number who actually I can talk to. And I ain't talked to you in months. And there's a reason, sir. I ain't got time. I ain't got time for that shit. But it's clear as day. And it all comes together. It all comes together. Is it possible, though, like I said, that the manosphere The white manosphere, the quote unquote clean side of the manosphere, that Kevin Samuels got too big for them. He got beyond them, and they could no longer control him. Is that possible? And they used Dennis and others to get at him. Because if that's true, right? And Dennis's close ties to Hawaii and connections to other agents of chaos in that same space would be why we need to be watching our spaces and watching who we get in cahoots with, and who we get involved with. Like I said, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it to get in cahoots with somebody because they have a quote unquote common enemy with you? Lennon Honor, anti Afro. Is it really worth it, y'all? Was it worth it? Or are y'all both agents of chaos too? It makes me wonder because Al came into this sector behind them two, supporting anti Afro's rhetorics, her hateful speech, supporting Lennon Honor's hateful rhetoric and hateful speech. That's how he got here. Let me read some of y'all comments, and then I'm actually going to end the show because I got to work today and it's almost 8 o'clock here. Um, I think I said hi to you. You said the black Nepotus. Hey, how are you today? You said good morning. I appreciate you being in. Hey, Josephine, I appreciate you coming in today. Hey, Carla Martin, I appreciate you always coming in and supporting the show. You said Grand Risings, Tea Pre, Loungers, and Cloud Dwellers. Peace and safety to our day. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You said the fact that Umar stood in direct opposition to Kevin Samuels and the Manosphere brought dome of this guy into the Umar sector. I know this for a fact, but we'll leave it alone. I know it for a fact too. I know it for a fact, man. I'm telling y'all, Umar's connection to this sector is why these people are here and how this manosphere got all of this stuff is connected, y'all. It's all fucking connected. Yes, you are 100% right about that. And like I said, y'all need to be careful who you hooking up with because you trying to get at somebody else. You say, yeah, it's been a thing. It's no different from feminism, same structure. You said, hey, Josephine, the chat sector. You said he was murked. It was a team effort. Okay. And I think so too. You said a hill. You said, and the way things played out immediately after. Yeah, because when I looked at Sperling, right, I was paying more attention to his page past couple of days and looking at some of the community tabs and some of the stuff he's been saying and stuff. I'm telling you, like, yeah, it's not looking good at all. It definitely looks super suspect. I don't even feel like I need to pull any tarot cards on this. I really think I could see it for what it is. Like it's clear to me. Um, you said you agree, and you said further proof they don't give a fuck about black women or black babies. Leona Hale. You said Miss T Pre is teaching and preaching. Respect. You know it. I'm just saying, like, I really think that this is definitely a thing. I definitely think that something happened to Kevin. I think they know a lot more. And he got too big for them. He literally went out here and got too big. Nicki Minaj, all kinds of people were coming in. Was starting to become super Hollywood, and they wanted to keep him where he was because they made money. He made money for them, And this is what I'm getting to. I mean, this is what I'm getting. I feel like he made money for them, and they wanted to keep him where he was, and they could no longer control that, which would take their money away, which is why they had to get him out the way. I mean, this is the only thing that makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you? Because it makes sense to me. I don't know. But shout out to the paperwork party because I believe that he really had a lot to do with opening up this situation, opening up this story, and being able to get people to put these connections together. Um, yeah. So anybody else that's still following after, after knowing this stuff, if you're still following after Fresh and Fit and all this other stuff, yeah, they are there to purposely cause problems in the black community because that makes money for this white manosphere, this clean side of the manosphere. Okay. That makes money for them. Not only does it make money for the black people because they're able to make this money off of this, but they have to give up that money to somebody else. Okay. And yeah, if y'all don't understand that or see that at this point, I don't know what else to say. But that's pretty much the conclusion that I'm coming to, that they definitely may have something to do with Kevin's demise. And I don't know. I'm not an expert in this. I'm not going to pull cards on this because, like I said, as an empath, I don't always want to know something. But there's way too many coincidences here. And yeah, way too many people interested in our sector and wanting to debunk this stuff than what's actually really going on. So anyway, guys, I am going to get out of here. Like I said, I'm going to put a link to my video that I did on the reading that I did for Kevin for the lady. I'm going to put a link to New World Tarot's prediction of Kevin Samuel's death. And I'm also going to do a link to the paperwork party so you guys can see what happened there too. Um, you said do a search on the village arsonist when you get a chance. What's going on in that circle is crazy. Okay, I'll do a search on that. There's definitely something happening, y'all. And I really think that I would definitely, if I was anybody, I would stay far, far away from that shit. Okay. But it is what it is. I'm not afraid of these niggas, but at the same time, hey, it is what it is. I'm not going to go digging in y'all shit and trying to get this and get that information because that ain't my place. But what I will say is, as much as I did not like Kevin Samuels and his fuck shit, and I didn't in life, honestly, I didn't totally disagree with the man. Okay. It wasn't until after he died when I started hearing about all this other stuff. And it's funny how I wanted to bring that up too. It's funny how a lot of stuff that Kevin Samuels was doing, a lot of nasty things that he was saying about children and about, women taking the side of their man over their kids and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff wasn't even uncovered to the full public eye until he was dead. How come they kept that kind of stuff undercover? They kept that kind of stuff under wraps because people, honestly, if anybody had that argument a long time ago, if anybody was able to say, like, y'all following after a nigga who want women to, if that kind of stuff was said a while ago, honestly, this conversation with Kevin probably would not have went as far as it did. But they kept particular things undercover until this man was dead. And now they're like, see, look at what he was saying. This is what he was saying. This is what he was doing. They some dirty motherfuckers, yo. They some dirty motherfuckers. But guess what? Money makes the world go round, y'all. It don't make no goddamn sense. Listen, y'all, I really always appreciate y'all coming into the building. Shout out to all the loungers who are in the chat. And for all of you who will catch the replay too, I always appreciate you guys tuning in, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace, guys. Thank you guys for watching.